Okay, so what we've got here is a pair of Barkers. They must be 15 years old now, and they're a favourite pair, but they're very scratched and scuffed. Look here, underneath one of the pedals on the car I think has done that, and that's quite a deep gouge. The other one's the same, it's really quite badly damaged. They've been looked after over the years, but you can see the heels as well, where they get caught on things. Often this is when I'm driving. The other one's got a big gouge on it, just on the back there. Can you see where where it sits when I'm driving, I think. Anyway, we can cure this. It's going to look a lot worse before it looks better, but I think I can get over it. Now the first thing we'll do is give them a really good brush. This is your exercise for the morning. Keys the surface, gets them really well cleaned, any dust off there, anything we can manage to do. A really good brushing. Top and bottom, you do the soles as well. If it's good enough for Frank Sinatra, it's good enough for us. So uppers and the soles there, give them a really good brush. Now these are going to look a lot worse before they look better. The first thing we're going to do is remove the old polish with this sapphire Reno mat, and it'll take off. We need quite a few cotton wool balls. We'll use most of those, and you'll be quite surprised to see how much dirt comes off and how much old polish. There it is. You don't need very much. Give it a good shake, make sure it's all mixed up, and then we begin. You'll see once the polish is gone just how dull they look and how matte the effect of the leather is. You don't have to work really hard at this, just rub gently but firmly there, and look how much has come off just with a few goes. We'll keep going at this, and it might take 10 minutes. Before we do, we'll pop in some shoe trees and stretch that leather so it's in the correct shape, and then we can get into all the wrinkles. This is just an old pair of shoe trees that I use for this purpose. And on we go again. You can see now the leather is stretched out a little bit, how much easier it is to get to all the parts. Especially, look at that, it's just old polish. And on we go, and you can see on this left tube particularly, as I rub, you'll be seeing a rougher, duller patch appear just in the centre of that toe cap. Can you see that where I am now? But don't worry about that, that we will lose when we continue the treatment of the shoe. It's easy to think, oh dear, I've ruined the shoe, but you haven't. I'm just showing you me doing the toe caps here. Obviously I go over the whole of the shoe, the heel, the face, the vamp, the quarters. I don't pay too much attention to the tongue. I do treat it with some of the cream polishes, but you never see it. Now the next stage then, 400 grit sandpaper. It's just a piece I've got from a different job, actually from the rotary sander, and you rub this gently for maybe 10 seconds and just feel it with your finger, and you can see there it really does start to look terrible now, the shoe, but don't worry, it's all in its best interests, and the more you rub, the more you abrade that leather, and you'll get rid. There you see I've done them both, and we've got to where the gouges and the scrapes, some of them have disappeared, some of them just look black. So we move from the 400 grit to a higher one, an 800 this time. There you see, This one's off my detail sander, but I'm not going to use a machine on it, just do it by hand. And this time you're making finer scratches on the surface, which really is all polishing is. You're just scratching the surface of something with smaller and smaller grits. So you just rub that over, feel it with your finger, and you can see there, that's pretty smooth. And this is about as bad as the shoe's going to look. It's not going to get much worse than that. Just a little bit more rubbing. The 800 grit. There, nice and smooth. And that's just about as much as we need to do. So, having done that, and the heel caps as well, we're going to move on to the next stage of the treatment, and that's this. This is a sapphire renovator. I'm not sponsored by these people in any way, but I've found that this one is the one to use, and you don't need very much at all. It smells gorgeous. It's a combination of mink oil and various other creams. I think there's shea butter in there, and just tiny dots of it, and then you rub them in, and it's a joyous experience. You can feel the leather being grateful for that. Look how it even looks now, just a tiny little bit on there, and you rub that in little circles with your bare hands, just a small amount. You don't need to slather it all over it, and that enriches the leather, it feeds the fibres, it makes them swell, moisturises. It's like moisturising your own skin. And remember, this has once been a living creature, possibly more than one living creature. Dear old Daisy the cow has done us proud, so we honour her by taking care of her even after she's gone. And rub all that renovateur into it. Make sure we cover all the bits, and I do put some of this on the tongue as well, just to give it a bit of moisture. You don't need to wax polish the tongue, you don't need to do very much to it, but keep it in fairly good condition. Now I've done both shoes there, and having done it, finally make sure there's not too much left, rub it all in, and while that's soaking in, I'm going to pay some attention to underneath. There you can see the leather is all covered in renovateur now. And we'll turn them over. Look at the state of these soles. It's almost as if somebody's been walking on them. So a good stiff brush, key the surface, give them a good brushing, and that's not where it ends. Get as much off as you can. There won't be much dirt on there now. We've already given them an initial brushing. But we're keying the surface there with that stiff brush. And now, before I discovered sapphire, I always used kiwi. And kiwi's a good polish. Again, I'm not sponsored by these people. It was the one that I used for years and years, and I've got quite a lot left. But I discovered the French way of doing it after that, but I'm still using the kiwi up on the soles of the shoes. Now look, you brush that in, and again you can feel the sole sucking that up. It's really good for it. Cover every possible inch of the surface of that leather sole, and this will help to make your shoes last longer. You'll be paying fewer visits to the cobblers to get them resoled if you do this. You're protecting them all the time. This is a waxy polish. Now, having brushed it all in, if you're going to walk on those in the house, and you will do, you do not want that on your carpet. So give them a good rub with a duster, and I've done it a lot more than you can see here. And that makes them a bit shiny and a bit slippery, But again, you can just brush them again with that stiff brush and key the surface just to give yourself a chance of not falling down the stairs or slipping over. And all the time you've been doing this, that renovateur has been soaking into the uppers. And you'll see what we do next. They're beautiful things, shoes. A craftsman has worked hard. They've been designed, they've been made. Now look, another brushing. And as you brush where you put the renovateur, it already brings the shoe up in a shine. You could get away with just using that. We won't. We will go on. But already the shoe looks cared for. It looks better than it did. Look at that. You could walk about in that. But we can go several stages beyond, and that's what we're going to do. We'll make these things into the beautiful creations that they really are. So we've covered several reasons for cleaning the shoes already. The exercise you're getting just from this brushing. Comfort is another one. The more now we're going to do another cream polish. This is a light brown, again from Sapphire. The more you rub that leather, the more pliable it becomes, the softer, and therefore the more comfortable. And it's essential that your shoes are comfortable. You should spend a lot of money on them. Spend a lot of money on your shoes and on your bed, because if you're not in one, you're probably in the other. Now we rub that in again, tiny little circles, get it all in there. That's on top of the renovateur, a nice cream polish. Thrift we've covered. Make your shoes last longer. Comfort. Here's one. When you polish your shoes like this and other people see them, you're setting an example to other people. And if just one person sees the way you do it and thinks, oh, I might do that, then you've done a good thing. Now we keep going and rubbing in this pigmented polish. Allow it to soak in. Let it soak in a little bit more than I am here. I'm doing this for the benefit of the camera, but we'll give it a good brush, and look how the shine already is coming through now. This is just with renovateur and cream polish. They nearly look as if they've just come out of the box, but not quite, and we will go on. And we give them a good brushing. You can see that dark patch in the middle is just about gone now. It's still battle scarred, you can just see the marks, but they're 15 years old and I don't expect them to look brand new. And we keep brushing. All good exercise. There. Now we're going to use a different cream polish, a darker tan. This is a dark brown. Marron Foncé, another Sapphire. That's shea butter. You can't put too much of this on really. So we've keyed the surface again by brushing, and now more of the same, just with a cloth. I tend not to do this with my bare hands because it does get on your skin a little bit and darken it. Makes you look like a heavy smoker, which I am not. So tiny little circles. Here we go again. There's a good reason the British Army makes you polish your boots. By the time you've spent an hour, maybe 2 hours on an evening bulling your boots, when you wear them, you're not going to let anyone step on your toes. And that gives you a presence. It gives you a slightly bigger personal space, and it gives you a presence, and you look like a soldier of the Queen or of the King now. There, another brush, this time with a slightly softer, a horsehair brush. See how that shine's coming up? attention to the heel cap as well. Look on there, you can hardly see where there were scratches and gouges, and it brings them up brightly again. And cream polish is all well and good. It feeds the leather, it softens the leather and makes it more pliable and more comfortable. But good as that is, and shiny as they may appear, when you wear your shoes outside, it is going to rain. At some point, your shoes are going to get wet. And lovely as they look now, the water will impregnate your shoe. And you don't want that. So this is what you do want. You want a wax polish. And I'm going to give it 5 coats of this sapphire Medai door, gold medal, and it's a lovely process. You just put that on the top, and again tiny little circles with a cloth. Some people do this bit with their bare hands. I like to use a cloth. I use bare hands for the renovator, but I like a cloth for this one. And you don't put any water on yet. All you do, over and over again, 5 coats on each shoe, and do the whole of the shoe, not just the toe cap and the heel cap as I'm showing you here. You do the vamp, you do the quarters, you do the face. There's no need to wax the tongue because that's covered by the, when you lace it up, it's covered by the face. But do keep rubbing that in. This is a lesson learned while you're polishing your shoes, doing things in the right order, and it'll serve you well in other areas of life. There's no point in brushing your shoe after you've built up a mirror polish because that will break it. There's no point in putting a wax on before the cream. You'll lose the wax, the cream will dull it. Obviously you don't put the Reno mat on to remove the polish after you've spent an hour mirror polishing. You just over and over again put the polish on, and any second now you're going to see. I actually took them away. I'm doing this with the camera to show you. But the next stage is a mirror gloss polish. It's a harder one. There's fewer oils and more wax than in this gold medal, this sapphire one I'm using now. There we have what I've been using there. You can see in the bottom right there, it's all broken up because it's hard and it's old and it wants to be. This is a mirror polish, the mirror gloss, and I might spend 10 minutes on each shoe, and in between each coat of wax you put a coat of water, just a tiny drop, and you hardly touch your cloth into that polish. Just get a little bit on, and then a tiny drop of water, and over and over and over again, and you can see there the mirror polish coming through. You put a bit of polish on there and it dulls the surface a little bit. Rub it over a different motion now, not little circles, but more of a back and forth polishing motion. A little bit of water, and over again. You can lose yourself in this. When you've done it 1,000 times, as I have, you're not really thinking about what you're doing. Your subconscious mind is getting a little break. It's getting to run free. And there, look at that. I've put a nicer pair of shoe trees in there. You can't see the gouges anymore. The scuffs, they're all gone, because most of that was on the polish. Look at the heels there. They were all scratched, do you remember, and gouged. Not anymore. And you can do this over and over. Make these shoes last a long time and look beautiful. They are things of beauty. Heels, waist, soles, and the uppers. And look at those toe caps. They'll last you a long time. Hope you've enjoyed this. Please do like and subscribe. So there you can see what it looked like before we started, the scuffs and the scratches, and what we did about it. You can see the sanding result, and there's the finished product. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.